Let's go ahead and get started with today's Kahoot 101. Alrighty. Welcome, everybody. We are going to be getting started right away. So a little quick poll question for you all. How have you interacted with Kahoot before? Please feel free to select the answer that you most closely align with. So this is one of our question types. You'll be hearing a lot about question types today. I decided to open with it just to get us engaging right off of the bat. Now, our poll question does not have points assigned to it, of course, because it's just meant to survey and to collect opinions, but you'll hear more about the different question types we have for you. This is a really great way to, in real time, learn about audience insights. So let's say, for example, you're going to be using Kahoot to amplify existing town halls, which is a popular use case to get people engaging. This is a great way to get everybody's opinion in a quick way that helps them become a part of a presentation in a way that maybe in traditional ways they wouldn't have been able to. So seems like today, the majority of you, 47% of you, have been participants in the past. So this is good because it lets me know that you have some knowledge base of what Kahoot is and what we do. Seems like also 24% of you have been hosts in the past. So that's nice. Hopefully we can teach you some new skills today. And then 24% of you are Kahoot gurus, experts. You love the tool. You align with my Nacho Libre gift that I have here. And then we also have 6% or one person that has never interacted with Kahoot before. So a good breakdown of demographics. But nonetheless, thank you for sharing. Now, right into a second collect opinion question called the drop pin. This is more for just an icebreaker effect. What is your favorite ice cream flavor? Now you can actually enlarge the picture on screen and drag a pin to the one that you want to vote for. However, if your favorite ice cream flavor isn't pictured here, please feel free to type it in the Zoom chat. Mine personally is mint chocolate chip, and it's not displayed here. But yeah, just a little insight into me. So let me get to know you as well. Alrighty, so we seem to have a good mix. It appears that a couple of you, of course, chocolate, cookies and cream, vanilla has quite a good amount of votes. Not surprised by that at all. Caramel, salted caramel is also close second there. And butter pecan is up there too, but no cookie dough, no chocolate chip. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Alrighty. Kristen, I see you there typing that you're not able to click anything. Are you joined into our Kahoot session? And if not, Andy can provide you some information on how to join the session. But alrighty. You won't be able to interact with it directly on your screen share interface. You do have to join using a mobile browser or mobile browser or your mobile device or your desktop laptop on a separate tab. But alrighty, moving right along. Now into a other icebreaker question. Your favorite holiday. This is in the format of word cloud. Now in just the short span of maybe about 3 minutes, we've seen 3 different question types, and the question types are what power the interaction element of Kahoot. We do have, and you'll see that in a second, questions that have points associated to them, and that's what kind of creates the gamification element. But in instances where we're just trying to get the audience warmed up, interacting, participating, we do have collect opinion questions that are more aimed at amplifying that interaction element. So my favorite holiday is Halloween, which is why I put that image of Wednesday Addams there. But I would love to see, what today in the room we have in terms of favorite holidays. So on word cloud, you can type an answer of up to 20 characters. And in a second, you'll see how they're all visually kind of laid out for us. This is a great way to, once again, help your audience feel represented. So you can do it to maybe ask a question. Let's say you're using Kahoot for training purposes. You can use a word cloud to ask, what do you want to focus on our next training segment? What questions do you still have after this training? Let's say you're using it for an HR capacity, new employee capacity, and you want to ask them what resources maybe they want to see after having done some of the onboarding procedures. There's a lot of applications for it, but it's just a really quick way to gather insights from your employees, teammates, colleagues, etc. So with that being said, it seems like we have St. Patrick's Day, New Year's, Halloween, Canaries Islands, Korea, Labor Day, Thanksgiving, my birthday. I like that. 2 my birthdays. So I do want to point out this distinction. If you see here, Christmas is actually a larger bubble, and that's because more people answered Christmas, which is what increased the kind of size of that bubble. However, you can see here that there were 2 my birthday submissions. However, one is my birthday -LOL. So that's what distinguished them and put them in separate brackets. Just some insight for you all as to why this looks a little bit differently. But that is one of the powers of word cloud. It helps you in an easy visual way see everybody represented, and then of course also quantify the volume of responses that you're getting, all in real time, which is really, really cool and neat. But with that being said, we're diving right into our first quiz type question. This one does have points associated to it, meaning there is a right and wrong answer. So what is Kahoot at its most foundational aspect? What is Kahoot? Answer, and depending on your answer, you'll then get points attributed to you. Kahoot does operate based off of a point system when it comes to our gamification elements, and that is because first off and foremost, the science behind it is that we encourage and incentivize engagement with a gamification system, right? Adult brains specifically tend to need an incentive to stay engaged, and especially when we're looking at it through the remote lens of work teams. At this point in age, a lot of us might be remote workers, hybrid workers. And so it can be really hard to keep engagement inside of your presentations, inside of your trainings, inside of whatever case you're using Kahoot for. And we do this, we facilitate this, our platform does, by allowing you to incorporate interactive questions and gamification into your experiences. So most of you answered a game-based learning platform, which is absolutely correct. And I would say it's the foundation of who we are as Kahoot. But had you also answered interactive presentation tool, you would have also been correct, because we also double as an interactive presentation tool. And then finally, my one lonely ranger that selected a data analytics system, you're leagues beyond the rest, because that is also correct. Not only do we amplify, provide you the ability to interact with your audience in a way that's engaging and gamified, but we also provide you ample reporting to help you assess the outcome of your insights, and then create follow-up plans according to those reports. I mean, how can you know where you're going if you haven't known where you've been? And that's the logic that we also operate by here at Kahoot. So reporting becomes a very important element for us and our clients. Now, we see our first instance of the leaderboard here. Corey M., shout out to you for being in first place. The scoreboard itself does have a kind of dynamic capability to it. So it does change in real time. There's a couple of reasons for this. Once again, it incentivizes the engagement through gamification. People are seeing their names in real time move up and down, which triggers that part of the lizard brain that causes them to focus and amplify the engagement level that they have towards a particular subject matter. If you have an incentive such as points, being displayed on screen, you're more likely to try and compete. It's just innately built into a lot of our adult brains in that way. But it does move up and down in real time. So we might see the stack ranking change. It always displays the top 5 in your session. And at the very end, going back to reporting, you do receive a full list of the final stack ranking, which is really nice. There's also a podium ceremony at the end of each Kahoot experience, which gives corresponding first, second, and third place medals to the top contenders of that session. So we'll look forward to that. But yeah, just if anything, it's also just a great recognition piece. You can take a beat as a facilitator at that point to shout out some of your top contenders or people on answer streaks, or just kind of drum up some of the competition element at that point there. But great job, everybody. Now, I switched over to this video. Now, don't, on your devices, you might see the option to click the play button. Don't click the play button just yet. I'm going to play it on the shared screen for everyone to hear it together. But just wanted to give that disclaimer before it started playing. All right, off to the races.
We're Kahoot. We're on a mission to make it awesome. Our game-based learning platform is used by millions of people all over the world. Teachers, students, company employees, and lifelong learners. Kahoot makes it easy to create fun learning games or trivia quizzes in minutes, anytime, anywhere. We call them Kahoots. It works for any subject, in any language, on any device. You can also discover and play existing games. There are millions of Kahoots in our library. Kahoot can be played in a live setting with questions on a big screen, or on your mobile device where you see questions and answers on one screen. As well as in schools, Kahoot is played in companies, at events, and even parties to make learning awesome.
Alrighty, so that is an intro video, just kind of summarizing everything we've been talking about thus far. I also like to include it at this point because we've seen already a good blend of the collect opinion questions versus a quiz type question, which we'll continue to see throughout the presentation today, the other formats of the question types we offer. But I also like to include that we do have the ability for you to do more of a traditional slide format. So I generated this slide here on the screen using tools specifically on the Kahoot platform. So we do have an integration with YouTube that allows us to quickly just bring any video that exists on that platform directly into your Kahoot. And then also on top of that, we have slide layouts that are provided to you based upon the subscription that you have, but most of our subscriptions have the ability for you to do interactive presentation things like this. The other option here is that you can also import and upload your own slides that you have from your PowerPoint decks or your Google slide decks or even PDF resources. We make it as easy as possible for you to upcycle and really just make the most out of content that you've created in the past. So in this way, you're able to build more of an interactive presentation that is sparsed in with actual information, slides, context, and then follow up with the interactive question elements. There's really no right or wrong way to do things. It really just depends on what you're trying to execute, but we provide you as many tools as possible on our platform and make it user-friendly as well. So we'll have a segment where I'll actually walk you through how to do everything that you're seeing here. So moving right along.
First of all, what is it?
Same disclaimer here. Don't play the video that has just come up. We are going to watch it together on the screen, so no need to click anything on your devices.
Challenge. Well, in a normal live game of Kahoot, players see questions and answers on the host screen and only the answer tiles on their own devices. With a challenge, players can see both questions and answers on their own device and can play a game at their own pace. So why use a challenge? Well, they're great for extending learning beyond the live game experience, enabling learning to happen anywhere, anytime. They're great to reach players who can't be in the same location, for example, for companies with distributed or remote teams, or companies with lots of busy workers on the go. Saving time. With challenges, the setup is easy with no need to schedule them. Assess performance easily. Like a normal game, you get data back right away, and you can see accuracy and other performance metrics.
Alrighty, so this is the point in our presentation that I like to start talking about the other modalities that exist under your Kahoot subscription. So as of right now, you're experiencing a live game, and this requires a live facilitator, in this case myself, actually running the game, tabbing through the game, and you are interacting with it in real time. This is one of the most popular ways to use Kahoot, but it's not the only way to use Kahoot. We do offer the ability for you to do more self-paced, asynchronous activities in the form of an assignment. In the video there, it was called a challenge. That was its name a little while ago, but now most commonly referred to as assignments. And it's basically everything that a Kahoot is in the live fashion, except it doesn't require you to be present together actually taking the Kahoot. You can create the Kahoot ahead of time, send it out to your people, your audience, your learners, your employees via a URL link, via a QR code. Really, we provide you many different ways to do it. And then it's a self-paced activity on them. They have to complete it maybe within a certain time frame. And that's also a way that you can use Kahoot, even though there isn't the capacity to maybe all meet together and be live together. Outside of that, the other modalities that exist is the ability for you to play a team mode variable of Kahoot, which happens only during live games, and also our newest iteration of modality, which is courses. This is the ability for you to take the Kahoot experience, which typically is a siloed singular experience, and move it into a modular learning experience. So you can string together things in a multimedia format, videos, PDF documents, Kahoot quizzes, Kahoot surveys, all under one bundle, and then actually require your audience to take it in succession. So this is great if you're trying to do maybe like a checklist type of activity, or maybe let's say we go back to the use case of onboarding. It's a new hire onboarding class. You want to dedicate some maybe self-paced activities for them. You generate a Kahoot course that has information on the employee handbook, maybe an introduction video, and maybe some quizzes to gamify their learning a bit. And now they've actually studied the handbook. They're being asked questions on it. They've watched videos that then have questions subsequently and asking about the content in that video. And it becomes a more holistic, comprehensive way of learning and teaching and assimilating information in a way that's gamified and interactive. So we'll show more on that, but those are some of the top modalities that come loaded into a lot of our Kahoot 360 products. Most of you here for our work segment would have one of those subscriptions, but yeah. And then outside of that, you can also create in many different ways. You can create fully from scratch, meaning that you put together a Kahoot from bare bones. You type out the questions yourself, you add in all the pictures yourself. That gives you the most creative liberty to do with the Kahoot platform as you please. But then for those that maybe are on the go a little more, don't have as much time, you can also create by importing. So you can bring in any external content that you already have and then just gamify it a bit using Kahoot's questions. Or you can even use some of our templates that we have available for you. More on that later. This is just a brief introduction, but yeah, we offer really as much or as little help as you might need on the platform, which is really, really nice. Also, I saw some of you interacting with the slide reactions. That's actually a new update. So if you haven't yet, please feel free to give reactions on the static slides, like right here. You can give a heart or I think a laughing emoji, a thumbs up. I just saw it come in, and it's just a way to emulate another interaction point on a more static layout as a slide here. But yeah, moving right along. So this is the Kahoot assignment, just a little deeper dive into it. On the right here in the image on the right, you're seeing the interface that asks you to set up the deadline on your Kahoot assignment. As I mentioned, they are asynchronous, they are self-paced, they can be assigned via email, via link, via QR code, sorry, and you can still have competitive elements such as the timer on that still times people against each other. There is a stack ranking just the same as a live game. People are moving up and down in the leaderboard depending on who's taking the game. It'll change in real time and reflect that for your future and ongoing players. And some popular use cases for the assignment is that you can use it for reinforcements, refreshers, polls, surveys, retraining, even like crowdsourcing ideas, brainstorming. The possibilities there really are endless in terms of how you can use your Kahoot assignments in that way. Now, this is just a reiteration of Kahoot courses and a first look into what they look like. So this particular Kahoot course pictured on screen has 5 activities to it. It can be started live. It can be done also asynchronously and self-paced. So once again, you have the full layout of the land here to really execute whatever experience you're looking for. And as you can see down here in our little blurb, it takes place by combining multiple Kahoots into a single learning experience and can be tracked over an extended time period as well. So that being said, we're moving right along into our next question. This is for double points. So it is a free input called Type Answer. And now the question being, name one of the modes of play. We just covered a lot on the Kahoot modalities. So I would love to see what stuck with you thus far, and of course, be rewarded for answering correctly in the form of double points. I did see a question earlier in the chat too about how points are calculated. So I saw that Andy was able to link the resource, but I'll explain it a little bit while everybody's typing. The Kahoot point system inside of our platform is based on speed and accuracy. The fastest and correct answer always gets the most points. And this once again goes at the logic of incentivizing engagement. If you're paying attention, if you're really immersed, you're going to answer quickly and you're going to answer correctly. And that also is what then extends to a lift in retention, about an 80% lift in retention observed when folks are leveraging Kahoot versus leveraging non-Kahoot methods to instill retention and lift. But with that being said, okay, so the 4 answers that I pre-programmed here were live, assignments, courses, and team mode. However, I saw a couple of other answers. So in our live iteration here, I can actually go back to all the answers and then manually toggle on the ones that are correct. The reason these 2 here are not correct is because it is case sensitive and spelling sensitive. So because it doesn't have the S or the at the end to make them plural, it marked them wrong at first, but then I can manually give you the correct answer here. So also somebody put quiz. Quiz is a question type, not a modality or a mode of play of Kahoot. So I am going to unfortunately leave that in the incorrect bracket, but asynchronous I'll take because that's very indicative of the type of way Kahoot can be played. It can be played asynchronously, meaning just self-paced. And here's the other answer of self-paced. Classic mode is a toughie because classic mode is just, it is a way to play Kahoot. It's what we're playing today, right? That is our classic mode. It's a 1-to-1. You're responding for yourself and gaining points for yourself. So because it is in that gray area, I will mark it as correct. Assessment, once again, goes back to the types of questions, not so much the mode of play. So I'm going to leave it as is. Challenge is also correct. And pin drop, once again, is a question type. So with that being said, I'll recalibrate everybody. And now if you didn't get points before, you will get points now. And we can move right along into our next iteration of the scoreboard. Corey M holding steadfast and first, but Mike, Karen, and Pepper making it on the board. All right, awesome. So now we've talked about what is Kahoot. We've talked about how Kahoot works in terms of the modes of play. Now we're going to talk about how do Kahoots actually get built? How did this Kahoot that you're playing right now get built? And that comes through the way of our Kahoot creator platform. So on the platform, it's all inside of your subscription. We have the interface that you are seeing here pictured on the right that allows you to customize your time limits, allows you to customize your media assets. It allows you to add in questions, upload and import your slides, so on and so forth. And it all happens inside of the platform. We do have partnerships, as I mentioned, with YouTube, but we also have partnerships with Giphy, with Getty, that allow you to essentially use our platform to surf those particular media libraries. And it really reduces the amount of things that you have to bring into the platform. You can always upload your own images, of course, but if you're just looking to use something fun, contemporary, animated, you can always use any of the integrations that we have available for you. So moving right along also, I want to take a specific time frame to spotlight some of the newer updates that we've just received. So during this kind of year, AI has been a very contentious and exciting topic for people to talk about. And we've adopted with that in mind, with always trying to keep innovation at the forefront of our platform, we've adopted some AI solutions that help the creation process for our clients. Here you're seeing pictured our question generator, which is the first iteration of this AI support on our platform. Essentially, what it allows you to do is, instead of trying to dream up your own questions, you type in a topic, as you're seeing on the screen. It then generates a bunch of different questions with correct and incorrect answers already formulated for you. And all you have to do at that point is just add it into your Kahoot. It really cuts down on the amount of time of creation because you're able to do brainstorming and creation at the same time. If you're maybe have some writer's block and don't know what might be something relevant to add, the question generator comes in and steps in as a kind of an assistant in that way. And as it keeps evolving, the next step here is for us to allow you to import your own PDFs to the AI tool and then have questions automatically generated based off the content that you upload. So we're just trying to make it as easy as possible for you to cut down on creation time, but not cut down on the engagement and interactive piece of things. So it is powered by Microsoft Azure OpenAI and does have language functionalities. So it's optimized for English at this time, but as the tool continues learning, it will continue to also be optimized across our global presence, because we do have presence in over 200 countries, and a lot of them operate in languages that aren't English. So that's always a priority for us, the inclusivity in terms of the language models that we support on the platform. Kahoot also is a Norwegian company, so there is a lot of need for us to continue supporting as many of languages as possible, because it's such a globally used tool. But with that being said, that is our AI generator in its full splendor. And then finally, before our live demo section, I'll take a moment to spotlight the question types. In this case, as I mentioned, there are 10 different question types. You've experienced already type answer, you've experienced quiz, you experienced poll and drop pin and word cloud. With that being said, each of these, as you can see, is split up into 2 brackets. The top 5 are our test knowledge questions. Those are the ones that have points assigned to them by default. And on top of that, those are the ones that also help you kind of quantify all your assessment-based needs. Because they have points assigned to them, it's very easy to distinguish a correct from an incorrect answer. And in the reporting, you'll be able to see more on how that looks like, but this is what's going to drive your gamification. Then the bottom 5 are also collect opinion questions, as we know them. These are your qualitatively driven questions. This is how you get your audience to feel connected to you. This is how you get your audience to give you insights and give you opinions and give you feedback in real time. Really, having a good blend of both of these questions in all your Kahoots is really the best way to ensure that you are getting the most out of your interaction. Because I've seen it often enough. Sometimes people they have all this robust capabilities, but then they just stay on quiz, which nothing wrong with it, honestly. But I feel like there could be a lot more done to amplify retention than just doing a quiz question over and over again for 20 slides, right? You can try to mix it up, make it a true and false, make it a drop pin, make it a little bit more fun, maybe do an open-ended question to really get people to reflect on the answers that they're giving. The possibilities here are endless, but just some ideas on how you can use these 10 different question types to really make for memorable experiences with your audience. So with that being said, we are going to take a step back here. I'm going to go into a live demo section for about 10 minutes to give you an idea of what creation actually looks like on the platform. If you haven't ever created a Kahoot or gone about it yet, or you're just starting on your journey, this will be really insightful. So please feel free to direct your attention this way. But everybody now should be seeing my live screen. And inside of the live screen, you can see here really quickly that we're at our home page. Yours might look a little bit different. Mine's been in use for a little while, so it has some information in there. But nonetheless, all of ours will essentially be looking the same. So from here, we can then navigate over to our library section. Inside of our library section, depending on whether you have an individual plan or have a team plan, yours might look a little bit different here. So if you have a team-based plan, you will have a team folders area, which is a shared workspace where you and your colleagues can collaborate. And if you have an individual license, you'll only have one folder, which is the My Folders area. This is because of our subscription model. Every user that logs into Kahoot to either create or host content needs their own license. So if you are on an individual plan, that means that only you yourself should be accessing it, and therefore no need for a team space, right? But if you are under a team plan and there's multiple users accessing the Kahoot area, you might need a team space to house everybody's content. Also, the collaborative element here in the team folder area. If I, person A, create this Kahoot that you're seeing pictured here, I can then have person B look into it, edit it, and I don't have to do anything outside of just have it live in our shared team space, which is really nice. Also, if let's say I'm member A on my team, but then Andy is member B, and she really likes something that I put together, and she says, hey, Callie, can I borrow that? I don't have to send it to her or give her a specific code or anything. She just logs in, hits start herself because she has her own license and we are on the same team plan. And then she plays it with her corresponding audience. Or even if she wanted to, she can go in here, duplicate, make a copy of my Kahoot, and then edit it for her team and then make it her own. So there's really a lot of collaborative ways to use even things that your teammates and your colleagues make to execute experiences. Outside of that, we also have a Discover page, which houses a lot of premium content as well as free content, right? So we do have partnerships with all of the partners pictured here and way more, and they all create content. They all come to Kahoot and say, hey, I want to become a Kahoot partner. They become vetted. They then start generating content specifically on the platform, and many of them do it for different reasons. Maybe some of them are more focused on trying to do some marketing externally to people. Maybe they just want to have a little bit of a presence on the platform. And so here, to give you an idea, I poked into Wikipedia. They do the origins of Black Friday, discovering Boxing Day, the history of Christmas, or some of the more recent Kahoots that they've created. But they have categories on sports history, ancient civilizations, and really just a lot of content that you can just come in here and, as I like to say, pick off the rack and play, right? If you are just going to do like a team building, fun, social happy hour type of experience with your team, you have a Kahoot license, you can go into the Discover page, see what's new. Let's say we find this Origins of Black Friday Kahoot, and that's the one we want to play with our audience. We can then kind of preview it, say, oh, there's a lot of good questions here. I want to use this. You can either choose to play it live or assign it asynchronously. Right? That's one of the ways that you can do pick off the rack, and this Discover library is made available to you as soon as you create a Kahoot profile. Then let's say, for example, you find something that you like, but that you also want to take on and maybe make your own. I'll use Kahoot Studio's example here. We do a segment called Good News of the Week, and so we update those periodically. So here, as you can see, there's about 12 questions in different varieties talking about the good news of the week of November 24th. Now, some of these Kahoots do give you the ability to duplicate them and then edit them and make them your own. So I just encourage you, if you are on the Discover page, take a look at the different Kahoots that are here. You can always search by using keywords up here in the search bar. Some content will be premium content or content that is put on by our creators that are selling their content. You'll always be able to easily see the buy option versus just play option. As you can see here, we make it very clear to distinguish, okay, this is paid content, I don't have access to it, but this is free content and I do have access to it. So just keep that in mind. Now, going back over to your respective Kahoot subscriptions. So to create a Kahoot, it's quite simple, really. We have the option of create right up here for you, and it asks you, do you want to create a Kahoot? Do you want to create a story? Or do you want to create a course? For now, we're just going to select Kahoot since we are just talking about the 101 basics. So inside of the creation tool, this is also where you have access to the question generator that I showed you a little while ago. Also the ability where you get to create something from scratch in a blank canvas, or where you can also access our template library. For today's example, I'm actually going to poke into our template library and just show you all the different templates we have available for you. So there's about 14 of these now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Actually 20 now. Oh, wow, we've expanded this. Last I checked, we had 14, but there's about 20 of these now. So you can see each corresponding template is then labeled to a use case. And these are all use cases that are prevalent inside of the work segment. So interactive presentations, brainstorming meetings, all hands presentations, product knowledge training, compliance quiz, and so on and so forth. Really, the possibilities are going to be endless. I keep saying that, but it's true because we continue expanding this ongoing as the years continue to increase. So for today's example, I'm going to go ahead and use just the interactive presentation template, just to give you an idea of what that looks like. So when I click that, it gives me the ability to then, first off, it loads a fully realized workflow for me on the left. It has, as it mentions, about 20 different questions and slides. And each of the slides and questions have a prompt. So they've been loaded with images, they've been loaded with prompts, and now it's up to me to customize this to however I need. So let's say here it starts with an interactive presentation. You can use this template for inspiration to create a presentation to remember. This particular slide I don't really need, so I'm going to go ahead and just trash it right out of the gate, right? Now we come up to the second slide and it gives me a prompt of, for the best experience, ask participants to join via the Kahoot app, blah, blah, blah. This is good information for me as a facilitator, but not something that I need inside of my presentation. So we're going to go ahead and trash it again. And then we're now brought to our next thing, our quiz question template question. So it prompts me here saying, great presentation starts with a question. Which presentation formats can you import? So this is just an example of a question you might ask. To make it your own, all you have to do is go in here, delete, and let's just say, make it my own question. Mind you, you type in whatever is most relevant here. Let's say, for example, we can ask something like, what are the company values? Right? And then down here, it already gives answers related to the prompt, but you can also go in here, delete, adjust, change, whatever you'd like. Even the images, right? You can kind of descale it. So this is one way of creating. You can use the template, see what's there, and then kind of scale back whatever you don't need. Or alternatively, if we were to go and just create from scratch, which is how maybe some of you might start this journey, it gives you a complete blank space. So not all of that, not all of that template that you saw before, just purely base here. So to give you an idea, if you're starting your Kahoot, first you'd identify, okay, I want to use it for X reason. Let's say we're going to do it for town halls. Let's say that's our example use case today. So inside of my town hall Kahoot, I want to make sure that we get across the performance from last quarter. I want to make sure we communicate some of the upcoming goals. And I want to make sure that we incentivize the participation of this with a couple of questions, because maybe at the end, we're going to give out a prize of some sort. So first things first, I'm going to ask here, let's say, what was our company's total revenue in Q3 2023, right? Let's say that's an important question that I want to ask my audiences for this hypothetical town hall that we're going to be having. From here, I can then choose to say, okay, the time limit is set at 20 seconds. That's good. The point system is set to standard. If we want to make it double points to make it a little bit more enticing, we can. And then we go ahead and insert our media. We can either use the Getty integration or the Unsplash integration, which are royalty-free images. Let's say we want to put company in here, and I misspelled it. With just that keyword, I'll show you in a second here. There's about 11 million queries that pop up based upon the initial keyword that we typed in. And these are all royalty-free images. They can be used to whatever extent you'd like. If we wanted to get a little bit more animated and maybe type in and use the Giphy extension, we can then look here and see with the keyword company what comes up. Let's just say, for example, we do corporate, and now we see a couple more things come up, right? So there's always something for every occasion, I will say. And keywords, simple kind of single keywords usually can get you a lot of awesome things to use. But I'm just going to put the office here and use this GIF here, right? Finally, the last thing to do to build this question is, okay, what are going to be my right and wrong answers? So first off and foremost, maybe we want to do, let's say my hypothetical company generated 33 billion. And then we can also put here, oh no, it was actually, let's just say 800 million, or let's just say that it was $35, right? Or just 35, or let's say 9 million, right? So now that we've put in some answers here, we're going to signify which one is the right one. So let's say that I want to say 9 million is the correct answer. I just go ahead and check mark it. And now within the span of maybe a couple of seconds, we formatted a full question type that we created from scratch, right? Now, let's say, for example, we want to go ahead and start adding some slides in. So we do have two options. We can either create a slide from scratch, which functions very similarly to building a question. You type in your title, welcome to our quarterly town hall, right? And then we go ahead and add an image here. Let's just say we want to add in a welcome image. All righty, let's see which one I like. We're going to go ahead and add this image here. We can also color the background color with the options provided here, or if you have one of our plans that allows you to have theming and branding, you can also add in a theme. So let's say, for example, I used today the Nordic Fall, but we do have a couple of other ones available. We're just going to use the standard one, which is available on most and all plans. And here we go. No, it's not letting me. Let's do the Nordic Fall. So now we've welcomed people into our town hall and we can preview it. This is what our audience would see. Our slide reactions are on, giving people the ability to react. And then we dragged it on top so that way it flows such as this. It opens up with a slide welcoming everybody to our town hall. We then dive right into the quiz question and asking people about what they think our quarterly revenue from the last quarter was. And you continue to repeat this flow depending on how you're structuring your experience. So you can continue adding more questions. You can continue adding more slides that you created. Now, I showed you how to create a slide from scratch. Let's talk about importing slides. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Import Slides button. I can then upload a file with the max file size of 80 megabytes, quite large. And as long as it's in the supported file formats, PPTX, PPT, .key, and .pdf. Keep in mind, if you are trying to bring in a presentation that has animations and whatnot from PowerPoint, the animations won't transfer. It does transfer as a kind of image, like a transferred image, so none of your animations will carry over, but I'll keep my lips sealed on this, but just know that we are aware of that and that we are working to maybe potentially solve for that. So keep that in mind. But in the meantime, I'll show you what just transferring over a PDF looks like. So 1 second. I'm going to upload this PDF that I have sitting on my desktop. Depending on the file size, it can take anywhere from like at most 10 seconds. But if it is taking quite a good amount of time, you can always skip the import process. But as you saw there, it just uploaded. Now we go over to our uploaded images. It's a PDF, as I mentioned. This is called a feature roundup. It's sent out by our wonderful customer success team. It's an ongoing newsletter that just shares with people all the new updates that have happened. But for this example, let's just say that these are updates for my hypothetical company that I want to share during the town hall. So you can preview it. First off and foremost, it comes out as an image like that. But if I don't like the way that necessarily looks, I can actually say, you know what, I want to put it into a slide. Just make it look a little bit different. You can always, of course, layer on the theming and whatnot on this. It should also give you the ability to then trigger the slide option to change it around a bit. But let's say, for example, I don't need some of this. I can remove it as well. Now I've put into place the content that I need. I then want to maybe ask a couple of other questions after each of these slides. So I'll go ahead and add in a true and false. And the top image here is talking about Kahoot courses. So down here, I can put something along the lines of product spotlight, Kahoot courses is active now. True or false? And we're gonna jot down that it's true. We're gonna put and then a little GIF in there, and now our question is formatted, right? And it follows directly after this kind of preview and update. This was a PDF example, but I do have an example of what a PowerPoint, or I use Google Slides, so what Google Slides might look like. And I'll show this for you now. Here we go. Here we go. So now we'll go ahead and import some of that to give you an idea of what that looks like and show you how that can be edited and done away with and so on. Like I mentioned, I can keep editing while importing. And I'm going to delete some of these. I'm just going to leave the one. And in the meantime, though, I'll also read some of these. Kristen asks, is the Kahoot template the same dimensions as a standard PowerPoint? Yes, it is. I know we have a spec guide, so hopefully we can get that for you there, Kristen. But yes, it is. It transfers over. So as you can see here, this is something I created on Kahoot Google Slide Deck. And sorry, on Google Slide Deck is what I meant. And then here is the option for you to then tailor it to a specific slide format. So like, let's say, for example, I want to use the big media, have my theme in the background. I went ahead and applied that. And now this is how my Google Slide Deck slide imports into Kahoot, just to give you an idea. But yeah. So we're going to go ahead and exit this preview. So now let's say we've integrated our slides, we've interspersed different questions in there. We've now created a fully realized interactive presentation, which is really nice. All we have left to do at this point is name it. I'll name this 101 test. We can add in a description. We can change the cover image. We can even add in a lobby video at that point if we wanted to. But once we click done, we save it. Our Kahoot is effectively finalized. Now it's a matter of, okay, how are we going to play this Kahoot? We've now created the Kahoot. How do we play the Kahoot? So to play the Kahoot, you decide, am I going to play it live or am I going to play it in a asynchronous format? You go ahead and you hit start. If you're going to play live, this then generates the ability for you to start sharing your game pin. You can also select the team mode or classic mode at this level. We also have a lot of other game modes that we did not touch on today, just because, like I mentioned, this is all about the basics at first. And then once you decide on what game mode you're going to be using, you then generate your game pin, which is where most of you started the journey today, joining a Kahoot session that we created. I won't leave that up just so we don't have anybody joining it, because we don't need to, but that's just an idea of how it gets played live. Let's say, for example, we want to assign it asynchronously. You click the assign button. It brings you to the ability to set a deadline, set the timer, set the player identifier, which helps you track the email in conjunction with the nickname. And then finally, when you click create, this is where you get the ability to share it. So whether that's by email, by URL, by QR code, we provide you all of these options here. This report is then updated in real time. So it says here that it ends in 3 days. If I send it out today to my hypothetical audience, they then interact with it. During the 3 days, and then the data is gathered across those 3 days. So to give you an idea here, here's an example of a Kahoot game that I played, and I'll show you what the report looks like. I have to make sure I'm careful because I don't want to expose anybody's information. So I'm looking for a specific Valentine's Day Kahoot that I played with our Kahoot team. Okay, here we go. So this is an example of what a report looks like. First off and foremost, you get a summary page with key insights on players who did not finish, omitted answering questions, difficult questions, so questions that pose difficulty to the majority of the group. You will also be able to drill down by players, so you can go into each respective player and then see their contributions, see the correct answers, incorrect answers, the point system. You can also do the question level where you go back and revisit the outcome to something like a drop pin, or you can then go back and see the outcome to things like a quiz. And finally, if all of that is not kind of gelling with you, maybe you need some more particular insights, you can download the report and then feed it to whatever maybe business analytics tool that you might have. We also have an API integration, depending on the plan type that you have. This is mostly reserved to enterprise level subscription, so you just might want to check, but you can then connect Kahoot to your LMS business intelligence platform and have it feed reporting directly to those platforms. So that being said, definitely a lot of great tools and things to cover inside of Kahoot. We are about 2 minutes out from finishing the session today, so I want to make sure I'm able to tab through as much content as possible. There's still quite a good amount of questions and slides left, but we covered the most important pieces, luckily. So with that being said, if you are in our game, please wake up your device. You can feel free to reconnect, and then we'll finish off and hopefully get to the podium for you. So we'll answer this slider question here for double points. How many question types, slide layouts, and Kahoot templates does Kahoot offer? Now, you might not know the exact number, but please feel free to guess. There is no penalty for guessing incorrectly. So our slider question does allow you the ability to have that tactile activity where you can slide on the numeric scale and then submit your answer. So I'll give everybody a chance to do that. So it seems like quite a good amount of you had answered 20, which template-wise, that is correct. But as of now, 34 is the number. However, if you fell anywhere near the scale there, the margin there, you received points, which is a good thing from our slider. Seems like CRS Rocks climbed to the top and is also on an answer streak. And Cindy dethroning our leader, Corey M. Alrighty. Quiz type question, once again, for double points. You can also extend learning beyond a live game. How? We talked a lot about the modalities of Kahoot, the ways to create Kahoot, and also just wanting to instill in you that live and quiz don't have to be the only ways you use Kahoot. So there are ways to extend beyond that. And I'd love to hear your insights if you've maybe capitulated a little bit on how that could be. So the answers were definitely assigning a course and assigning a self-paced assignment. It's all about the asynchronous capabilities. Playing in team mode is only available in a live game, and screen sharing a Kahoot game only happens typically during a live game. So that is why those are incorrect, but nonetheless, thank you for your answers, everybody. That shook up our leaderboard again. A lot of changes happening. This one I'll leave. It's all about speed. Kahoot Creator allows you to upload your own slide decks and more, true or false. And I'll skip the rest of the timer for time's sake, but it is absolutely true. And I won't show you the leaderboard just yet. Just a quick refresher on Kahoot reports and what they do. Helps you visualize the outcomes of your sessions and helps you inform a strategic follow-up. I'm also going to skip this quiz question, so no worries there. I think we might not need it for now. But finally, I will say, so we're at 10:01. Please feel free. I don't want to take up any more time that you might have allotted for us today. But this is probably the last activity I want to leave you with. Based on what you've seen so far, how can you see your team using Kahoot? So now on your devices, you have the ability to submit an idea. Brainstorm is one of my favorite question types because it's kind of a hybrid. It's bracketed in the collect opinion group, but it does have a points element to it. Now, you can choose as the facilitator to enable points or disable points. It really just depends. But essentially, you can use this to get ideas, get responses from your audience, and then they peer review each other. Basically, they vote on each other's contributions and bubble up a winner in that way. So mine does have points associated to it. In a second, we'll start the voting round. For right now, we just want to collect everybody's submissions and see where the hamster wheel is turning for you after having spent an hour with us learning about Kahoot and what we can do. So with that being said, 10 more seconds on the board. Jot down, cross your T's, dot your I's, and may the odds be forever in your favor in terms of the voting deities that are going to be the colleagues in this virtual workspace. But all righty, skipping the timer, and we're going to sort out the ideas. It is grouping them based on similar keywords and similar ideas here, but we have safety training, new team member training, a lot of training, which is our bread and butter, but definitely glad to see that we have a lot of other ideas on the board as well. Ideate concepts, which I love, brainstorming. I'm going to bracket these two together. Quarterly retreat events. I love that. Onboarding to learn and have fun at the same time. I'm going to put new team member with onboarding over here, live training. I'm going to put this training group together, interactive trainings, assignments, games for trainees to ensure comprehension. Okay, I think we're all grouped up and ready to start voting. Now you can give a star to an idea that you want to vote for, or skip the idea and withhold a vote. And that's how you basically quote unquote downvote it, but it's really just not voting for a question, or I mean for a prompt. Alrighty, let's see what the outcome of our vote is. Seems like the top 3 contenders were onboarding, new team member training, ideating concepts and brainstorming, love it. And our top was interactive trainings. All righty, perfect. With that being said, I was going to ask you to write one takeaway from today's session in our open-ended format, but I'm going to go ahead and skip it so that we may get to the ending podium, just so that you can see that, and then we'll wrap up. But after this training, how well do you feel you know Kahoot now? Do you feel like you learned some new things? Are you excited to try it? Do you feel like it's the same that you already knew? And if that's the case, I highly encourage you going to our Kahoot deep dive. You might definitely learn a lot more if you felt like you're walking away with the same knowledge level today. But yeah, happy to hear how everybody's feeling after this. The deep dive, Jennifer, happens the second Wednesday of every month. So the next one will be, of course, in December, the second Wednesday of December. It is also live in our webinar registration page. So it'll tell you there the exact date, and hopefully Andy can share the links there with you. But it seems like 75% of you say a lot better, 8% of you say you're a Kahoot expert now, and then 17% of you say slightly better, which is good. As long as nobody is same as when they started, I'm happy. And with that being said, I formally adjudicate you guys as fully graduated Kahoot 101 graduates. And with that being said, I want to roll out the purple carpet here for you to crown our winners. Third place, CRS Rocks. Second place for Mike. And first place goes to Pepper. Who would have thunk it? Runners up here, Ryan and JB. So thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time to meet with us today and sit with us an hour and learn a little bit about Kahoot. I'm going to nudge a gentle survey your way. Please feel free to fill it out if you'd like. But yeah, please feel free to comment any feedback that you might have for us before you hop off. We're always looking to enhance these sessions for you, and I'll be glad to pass that along to Zainab, my other wonderful colleague that heads this initiative up with the help of Andy here, our lovely Andy Galich. But yeah, thank you, everybody. So Demetrius, it's not every Wednesday. The deep dive is every second Wednesday of the month, and then the 101 is the fourth Wednesday of every month. So there's 2 trainings monthly, one of them being the basics that you encountered today, and then the other one being the spotlight that changes every month. Thank you, Corey. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for participating, for hanging in there, listening to me talk. I hope that the sound of my voice was not grating to you. And I really thank you for taking the time to sit down with me and learn a little bit. I wish you nothing but the best of luck moving onward with your Kahoot endeavors. And we hope to continue bringing you exciting new things to the platform. Also, if you haven't had a chance, if you are one of those that joined and doesn't have a Kahoot subscription for whatever reason, you can also connect with me. I handle a lot of those conversations, and I'd be glad to get you set up with a trial or a Kahoot license if you don't have one. But I believe everybody here should have one. That's usually the demographic of our participants. Thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of your day, and I'm signing off. See you next time. Bye-bye.